Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you in ASP.NET MVC using Web API how to create a user registration form with data inversion. And here we got a new output after changing the sender tags, the header tags and the employee registration form. Now let's add the new employee details. James. The password I'm adding jam at gmail.com, and the gender male is unmarried. The join date 11/7/2019. Let's insert. See, here we got a message: the employee James is inserted successfully. Let's check in the database. Right now this employee list table contains employee ID 1 Charan. Let's execute. See, here we got the employee ID 2. The employee name is James. That's it. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in MVC Web API, first we'll create a new table in SQL Server Management Studio. Let me expand this root folder as well as the databases folder. The new DB is my user database. I want to create a new table. First let's expand this new DB as well as the tables of this new DB database. Let's create a new table. Right click the new DB, new query. Now let's create a table. Create table. Employee reg is the table name. Let's add the columns emp id, integer type, not null. I'm adding primary key for this table, the identity column, give 1, 1, emp name and varchar 150. After employee name, I'm adding the password field, pwd and varchar 50, the size of the password, the repassword and varchar is 50, email and varchar 150, gender, I'm adding character is 1. After that, I'm adding the marital status and varchar 50, join date is the date. That's it. Let's create a table, execute. And here we got a message: command completed successfully. Let's refresh the tables folder of the new DB database. Refresh, and here we got the employee reg table. Let's browse the table, select top 1000 rows. Right now this employee reg table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the new employee details into this registration form using MVC Web API. For this video tutorial, I'm creating a new MVC Web API application. Go to File, New Project. From the web templates, I'm selecting ASP.NET Web Application, and the .NET Framework I'm using 4.6.1. The application name is MVC Web API User Reg. Click OK. And from the templates, I'm selecting Web API. Click OK. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. Open Solution Explorer. The first in this project, I'm adding ADO.NET Entity Model. Right click the project name, add ADO.NET Entity Data Model. I'm selecting that one. Let's give the item name. The model name is EMP model. Click OK. And from the model contents, I'm selecting the first option, EF Designer from database. Click Next. Let's create a new connection of SQL Server. I'm adding my SQL Server name. After adding SQL Server name, now I'm selecting the database name. Our database name is a new DB. Let's select that one. Test connection is succeeded. OK. And here we got our connection string, and the connection string name is a new DB entities. And I'm saving this connection string in the web.config file. Click Next. Now let's select the table from the database objects as well as DB. I'm expanding that one. Our table name is the employee reg. Let's select that one. Click Finish. And here the employee reg entity model is added to our project. After adding the entity model, next open Solution Explorer. Let's minimize this references folder. Let's add a class in this models folder. Right click the models folder, add class. Let's give the class name EMP is a class name, add. And here we got our EMP class. Now in this EMP class, I'm just defining the properties with data annotations. When we are declaring data annotations, we have to import the namespace using system.componentModel.data annotations. After that, let's add the public properties. Public, the first one is a string, EMP name, get set. This one is G, and the next one PWD, password and repassword, email, public string, password, get set, public string, repassword, get set, public string, email, get set, public. The gender, the data type, we have added the char, so let's add the char data type, gender, get set, public string, marital status, get set, and the last one public date, time, join date. The last one is join date, get set. So after adding the properties, now we'll add the data annotations. I'm adding the required error message is equals to please enter the name. Display name is equals to employee name. After that, let's add the password. Before that, let's add the data type dot password. The required error message is please enter the password. The label is a password. And the repassword, let's copy this one, paste here, please enter repassword, and the display name is the confirm password. And I'm validating the repassword with the password. So the password and repassword both must match. So I'm using the compare between double quotes. I'm adding this pwd, the property of the password. The next one is email. Please enter the email, the error message, and the label name is email. Please enter. Please select the gender. The gender I'm adding the radio button controls. So I'm adding the error message. Please select the gender. Gender. And the marital status, I'm adding a drop-down control which contains the values married, unmarried, divorced, and widowed. So please select the marital status. Let's add the name. And the last one, join date. Copy this one and paste. Please enter the date. The label date of join. That's it. We have added the public properties and the data initiations validation messages in this EMP class. Now after that, let's add a API, web API controller. Open Solution Explorer. In the controllers folder, right click the controllers, add, select the controller, select the web API to controller empty, add. The controller name is EMP controller, add. And here we got our controller. Now first in this controller API, I'm adding the namespace using the project name dot models folder. After that, let's add public HTTP action result. EMP reg form is a method. Now in this method, I'm adding my class name EMP class EC. Now in this method, I'm adding the connection string entity new DB entities, and is equals to new DB entities, and the dot employee search dot add method new. The add method takes the employee reg entity. So I'm adding the class, I'm adding the table name. Our table name is the employee reg. See here, employee reg. Employee reg, the table name. Let's add the properties. EMP ID. I'm not adding EMP ID because it's an auto-generated column. So I'm just I'm adding EMP name is equals to EC dot this object employee class object dot EMP name, comma. The next one is a password is equals to EC dot password pwd. The next one is a repassword is equals to EC dot repassword, and the next column name is the email gender marital status. Email is equals to EC dot email, comma, gender is equals to EC dot gender, comma, marital status is equals to EC dot marital status. Notice here we got an error. The gender, the type is a cat. See here, the gender is a cat type. So that's the reason we got an error. So make that dot toString method. The last one, join date is equals to ec dot join date, semicolon. Let's save the data. nd dot save changes method and return OK method. That's it. We have added the code to insert the employee details into employees table in this web API controller. Now before adding the MVC controller, first we require the web API controller URL. So let's browse this AMP controller Google Chrome, and here we got the output of the default home page of the project. Now we require the web API. After the domain name, I'm adding the API / let's add the controller name, API controller name, which is the EMP, the API controller EMP. Add that one, enter, and here we got the output of the web API. Notice we got some error message. The requested resource does not support HTTP method GET. The reason, we are posting the data. Don't worry about this error message. We just require this URL, the web API URL. Switch back to the coding part. Let's stop debugging. Now let's create a controller in the same controllers folder. Right click the controllers folder, add, select controller. Now this time I'm selecting MVC file controller empty to consume this web API to in this MVC file controller. Select the MVC file controller empty, add. The controller name is registration, add. And here we got the registration controller. The first thing, let's add the name model space, model namespace is MVC dot project name dot models. And to consume the web API, I'm using HTTP client, so I'm adding the HTTP, the namespace, using system.net.http. After adding these two namespace, and now I'm adding the action result index to post the data, HTTP post. In this action result index, I'm adding my class name, which is the EMP class. EC is an object. HTTP client, HC is equals to new HTTP client. HC dot base address is equals to new URI. This URI method takes the parameter string URI. The string is double quotes. Let's add the web URI address, semicolon. After we got the web API to consume the data, now let's insert the record. Variable insert record is equals to hc dot post as JSON async. The post as JSON async, the type T, I'm adding my class name EMP class. This method takes two parameters. One is a request URI, which is a string between double quotes. I'm adding the web API controller name, comma, and the second one is the EMP class value. The value is this object EC, semicolon, insert record dot wait method. After we insert, now let's save the data. For that I'm declaring a variable save record is equals to insert record dot result if if save record dot is success status score, if the record is saved successfully, I want to display the message. For that I am using viewback dot message is equals to the user, the employee, plus plus ec dot emp name is inserted successfully. Now I'm adding if condition because we have to validate the data also. If model state dot is valid, I'm closing this curly braces after the return view. Let's add this here. That's it. We have consumed the web API in this registration controller, which is a MVC controller. Now we require the index view page, but before adding the view page to this project, we must build the application first. Build solution. And here we got a message, build succeeded. Let's close this output message box. Now select the action result index, right click the mouse, add view, the view name is index, the template I'm selecting create, the model class, and notice here I'm not adding our EMP class, the model class, because we are inserting the data. So I'm selecting the employee reg, the table name, and the data context class I'm adding my connection string. Click add. And here we got our index view page. Now first I'm changing the title of the index employee registration form. I'm adding center tag. I'm closing this center tag at the bottom. Let's change the headers. Employee registration form in MVC using web API. MVC web API tutorials. After that headers, I'm adding horizontal line. And notice here, when we select the template create, we'll select the editor for to all the columns, to all the fields, but I don't require the editor for the gender and the marital status. So instead of editor for, I'm adding the radio buttons. So let's add the radio button here. Open toolbox, radio button, HTML element. I'm adding name at HTML dot name for, and this name for method I'm adding model gender, this one, paste here. Let's comment this one. Gender is male, and the value I want to insert, I'm adding male because the gender data type is Carol. Let's copy this one, and this one is female. F female. And for the marital status, instead of editor for HTML helper, I am adding the select option element, which is a drop down control. Select option value is equals to empty selected disabled marital status. After that, I'm adding the options. The options I'm adding married, unmarried, divorced, and widowed. Now in the select element, I'm adding name is equals to at HTML dot name for. I'm adding model status. So now I don't require this one. Let's comment the thing. And now in the button control, the value I'm changing to insert. Now, once the record is inserted successfully, I want to display the message. For that, we have used the view back message. This message I want to display in the index view page. At I'm adding h1 tags. Copy this one and paste. In the next, in the password field, the editor for element, the editor for HTML helper, instead of editor for, I'm adding password for. And the same thing I'm adding for the password also. That's it. We have done the complete coding part. We got the entity model, the class, web API controller, MVC controller, and the index view page. Now the final step before run this application, the most important thing is we have to change the controller name. So open Solution Explorer, app underscore start, expand that one, route config.cs file, open that one, and notice here the controller name is a home, which is a default one. Our controller name is registration. Copy this one, paste here, and the action result is the index only, which is this one. Now it's time to check the results. Google Chrome. And here we got the final output. Oops, something went wrong in the designing part because we have added the center tags. Now the first condition, without enter any values, I'm inserting the button control. See, here we got the validation error messages. So let's enter the employee name, Charan. The password is CHA123. The password and repassword is not matched. And the email, charan@gmail.com. I'm selecting the gender male. The marital status is married. And the join date, I'm adding 11/7/2019. Now when I insert, and here we got an error message, the confirm password and password do not match. So now let's add the password is CHA, the confirm password also is a CHA. The gender, I'm selecting male. The marital status is married. Let's insert the record. Insert. And here we got a message, the employee Charan is inserted successfully. Let's check in the database table the Charan details, the employee details is inserted or not. Right now this employee table contains 0 rows. Now I'm executing the table. See, here we got the Charan details is inserted successfully. Now let's stop debugging. Let's add the center tag. Yeah, Google Chrome. And here we got a new output after changing the center tags, the header tags, and the employee registration form. Now let's add the new employee details. James, the password I'm adding jam at gmail.com, and the gender male is unmarried, the join date 11/7/2019. Let's insert. See, here we got a message, the employee James is inserted successfully. Let's check in the database. Right now this employee table contains employee ID 1 Charan. Let's execute. See, here we got the employee ID 2, the employee name is James. That's it.